Welcome to the first module of Life Hacking 101. In this module, I'm going to just lay out a general overview of how you can start looking at life and just your place in this universal construct, and how you can gain a deeper understanding of how it functions so that later you can leverage that understanding to engage in particular practices and behaviors and ways of being that will allow you to optimize your experience of life. So, as you can see in this picture, I've drawn out just a very simple diagram of what I break down into the three components of your individual human life. So, we have the spiritual component at the top of this triangle, and that is likened to the presence or awareness. So to relate what this is, you can think, who is it that is having this experience of life, right? It's like we're having an experience where we're experiencing things through the five senses. So through our eyesight, through the sense of touch, taste, smell, hearing, etc. And we're also having thoughts, right? It's like if I ask you to think a thought right now, like think the thought, who is listening to this thought? If you just think in your head, who is listening to this thought? There's behind the thought, so to speak, an observer or an awareness. So without that awareness, there is no experience, right? There has to be someone having the experience. And I'll show you some exercises to drop into this awareness later on. But what I like in the spiritual dimension of the human being too is that presence or awareness. And if you've heard of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, he speaks a lot about this dimension of presence and awareness and this observer that is having this experience of life, that is perpetually in the background. Even though everything else changes, the witnessing consciousness remains the same. So that is the spiritual component. And to me, that is completely perfect. It's always absolute harmony. It is absolute perfection. It can never be tainted. It can never be affected by anything in your life experience. It always remains the same. Only the experience changes. And so when we go from that spiritual, it's like that formless realm of pure awareness, pure consciousness, and expands into the mental, into the more subtle realm. So it's like when you think a thought, you can't touch the thought. It's not material, it's not tangible, but I don't think anyone would argue that you're not thinking the thought or you're not having thoughts. Like we can think thoughts about anything, and even though it's not actually tangible, we could think a thought that then drives us to take an action. Like, for example, this drawing on this board, I thought of it beforehand and then I drew it out and I translated it from the mind into the physical. So that's the next, you could say, expansion of this spiritual realm or this formless dimension of infinite intelligence, infinite potential. It moves into that mental realm, which is like the subtle realm of reality. So the mental is comprised of both the conscious and the subconscious. So even though we're thinking thoughts consciously, we're also having subconscious thoughts. We're also conditioned. For instance, like the language that we speak, the language I'm speaking, I don't have to consciously think or conjure up these words. They just come to my tongue, they come out my mouth. Well, how does that work? It's because I was programmed growing up with the English language, and now I run it unconsciously in the subconscious mind. So that's a great way to understand the subconscious. And in the subconscious, we have some conditioning that is very positive and helpful and resourceful to us, and we have some that is very limiting and negative. So I'm going to show you exactly how to release the limiting conditioning in the subconscious and then to reprogram the subconscious using your conscious mind and focus, reprogramming it so that it's more beneficial and actually serves you. So it's almost like investing money, for instance. When you invest money into the right places, it works for you and you don't have to do anything. You've already made the investment and you just keep getting the return on that. It's the same thing when you consciously condition the subconscious. You intentionally condition it. It's like you just keep reaping the benefits. Like you reap what you sow, right? The subconscious is like the garden of your mind, of your being. So to rip out the weeds and to sow the seeds of what you want to grow, that's the key here. And then the subtle realm expands into the physical. So that's this material realm that we exist in, made of the body and just all physical matter. And so on this realm, the ways to optimize the physical, in my opinion, are through the right nutrition, taking in the right foods that cleanse the body and nourish the body and bring in the proper nutrition, as well as doing the right exercises. So you're doing exercises that both strengthen and stretch and expand, both the yin and the yang. So you want to really work the physical body in a way where you're releasing the crap that's holding you back, or any tension points or patterns in the body, and then you're taking in what is good for the body, what strengthens and builds the body and optimizes it. So you're essentially doing that on every level. I want you to start thinking of how really the key to optimizing your experience is just releasing that which isn't serving you, and then consciously taking in what is serving you. Because when we're kids, we just take in everything like a sponge. And obviously there's some things that are good in our environment and some things that are really bad. Some things that are harmonious and some things that are disharmonious. Some that are functional, some that are dysfunctional. So we need to learn to differentiate between what's holding us back and what is good for us, releasing the stuff that's holding us back, taking in the stuff that is truly good for us, and then we can gain this holistic experience of living this life from a peak experience, of really consciously optimizing our experience of life, getting clear on our trajectory and our direction in life, knowing where we want to go, and then choosing the information we take in that's going to help to get us going in that direction. That is really the most critical thing here. So I hope this overview was beneficial and gave you a better overall understanding of your place in this human experience, in this universal construct. And in the next video, I'm gonna dive into the spiritual aspect specifically, and the different exercises you can utilize to really bring that into your awareness, or in a sense, bring that awareness to the surface to get you in touch with that, and to really find that realm of inner peace and inner stillness that is just absolute perfection, that is always within you. Regardless of what's happening, it's always there. So I'm going to show you some exercises to get in touch with that. So I'll see you in the next one.